Welcome to Entry Points Radio. Every week we share human-curated playlists to break the algorithm. We're going to take a deep dive into new tracks, new humans, and new sounds to fall in love with from around the world. I'm Kate Bass.
And I'm Richie Stagner. We founded Global Music Collective to discover and create new music across boundaries. We've spent the past decade meeting fascinating people in over 50 countries.
These are the real songs and real stories that we share with real people along the way. This is Entry Points Radio.
Are we going?
Yeah, you're on, dude. I'm just waiting for you to make your statement.
You make your statement. I'm not doing it now. I feel like it's not, if you're just giving this to me, it's not a challenge anymore. I thought it was like, you gotta be first.
We're back.
One of us is gonna do it. We are back. We are back at it again. Week 11 after a wonderful week 10. Welcome to Entry Points Radio, everybody. All of you out there.
All of you.
All of you. Kate, we went and saw the Odyssey last night at the IMAX.
Yeah. I'm so jealous. Tell me about it.
Well, it's big.
It yet, so don't spoil it like I spoiled the Orpheus and Eurydice that everybody apparently does not know about.
Spoiler alert, it's long.
It's long. Okay. Oh, that's the first thing you said. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, actually, to be honest, it didn't feel long. It didn't feel like one of those like 2.5 hour Scorsese movies where you're like, this didn't have to be 2.5 hours.
Right.
I mean, it's an epic. It's the Odyssey. It's supposed to be long.
Right.
And it actually moved. It felt good. It didn't feel like it was lagging. It was like we were at the IMAX and we were sitting in the third row because we only bought the tickets a month in advance. And so my neck still hurts from last night.
That sounds horrible. I wouldn't want to do that. I'd rather just not see it.
Well, yeah. I would have considered waiting another week just to sit back far enough so that I didn't have to do that. It was cool. Like, I don't know if the IMAX is honestly worth it. I don't know if it's worth it.
Interesting. Okay. Why?
Like, it's a big screen, obviously, but every movie theater is a big screen. And I think I'm just used to this now.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe it's just like, maybe the novelty of having like a ginormous screen that you can't see to the ends of isn't there anymore. I haven't been to the Sphere yet in Las Vegas, which maybe...
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Me neither.
Yeah, that might be like
But do they show movies there?
If they don't, they should. That seems like the perfect place for a movie. I don't know. I've never been. I know they do concerts, and those seem like they'd be fun and immersive.
Yeah.
You don't seem thrilled about it.
I mean, look, I like going to like theme parks and stuff. It's fun to go on a crazy roller coaster and have, manufactured fun. Like, remember we were talking about Senior Frogs last week?
Sure. Senior
Frogs.
Frogs.
Every now and then it's kind of fun. My friend Kathleen and I, we used to have a tradition. Why am I talking about this on the podcast? We used to have a tradition where we would, when we were in our 20s living in New York City, every now and then we would go on like a trip out to the suburbs of New Jersey to a mall, and we would just like go see a bad movie at the movie theater, and then we'd go to Cheesecake Factory, and it was like our tacky vacation. Not that we were so classy. We were like 20-year-olds in New York, but right. New York City's it was like a funny thing. We would just like go on vacation to do the tacky things. So yeah. I don't know. I get the whole Sphere thing, and I get that it's a spectacle, and everyone I know who's gone there loves it, and I'm probably judging it because I can't afford to see. I was talking about this with some people recently. Y'all don't realize these festivals are not made so that artists can take part. Like, they're prohibitively expensive, even for the artists performing.
Right.
Like, the artists who perform in South by Southwest, most of them don't even get paid unless they're the headliners. And, so Kate's morning grumble has concluded, maybe, at this point.
Yeah. That is so. It's so funny that there are some places where it's like, you should be honored to perform here. And from an artist perspective, it's kind of like, I'm still just doing my show, and I'm still performing. It's still an audience, like 1-to-1. It's like nothing has really changed. But there's this like austerity about some. We did the Ryman one time, which is this like old church that
that?
they've turned into. Exactly. What's that? Like,
Well, I don't know anything. For someone who works in the business, I know shockingly little.
Well,
as we'll discuss more later.
Finally,
Anyway,
something I know, that the Ryman. Yeah, it's like it's a beautiful place. It's a church that they turned into a venue in Nashville, and it's like where all of the famous Nashville people have gone to perform.
Okay.
It's not like a giant auditorium, but it's kind of looked at as this like, this is the temple of country music. And
right.
So we went and performed there, and it was like here's your Ryman water bottle and Ryman mouse pad, and I was like, all right, thank you.
Thank God. I've been needing a mouse pad.
Yeah, I'm fresh out of mouse pads. But it also was like the same show that we did in Buffalo like 2 months prior. So it wasn't like, for us as musicians, it wasn't necessarily different. Although it was this like, oh, Dolly Parton was here once. She's not here now.
I mean, I sang a Gilbert and Sullivan operetta in a theater that Dolly Parton performed in, and I remember sitting in her dressing room, like the dressing room that had her picture and like the signed photograph, as I'm like getting dressed up as Josephine in HMS Pinafore. And I remember being like, is this cool? I don't know if this is cool. I think this is cool.
Yeah. Unless she was here like 12 minutes ago. It's still, she's like years gone. They've mocked 100 times.
Yeah, she's performed in a lot of different places. And I don't know. I guess maybe you think, oh, I'm in the dressing room of Dolly Parton, therefore I have made it as big as Dolly Parton. But like, then you find yourself in the dressing room of Dolly Parton singing Gilbert and Sullivan operettas and like getting paid a couple $100 or something, and you're like, okay, well, if this is making it, then I'm going to the Cheesecake Factory
in New Jersey. Yeah, you almost feel like
I can make it.
That whole like imposter syndrome. It's not like you really believe it, but you feel like, okay, I'm not Dolly Parton. I'm here in the same room, but I'm just like a guest, and she could come in and kick me out of this dressing room right now, and I would have.
And then you have to ask.
Okay with that.
You have to ask yourself, at what point Dolly Parton felt like she was Dolly Parton, and at how many moments in her career did she think she was just some yokel in the. I'm sure she doesn't anymore, but she's pretty lovely. Anyway, how did we get on Dolly Parton?
I don't know. The Odyssey.
This was a wandering. Oh, right, of course.
Who knows?
That makes sense.
Yeah. Since we're a music podcast, I was thinking about the music in it, and it was, they didn't lean into like strictly like ancient Greek style stuff. Like there was a little bit of that, which I think they would do a disservice to the film if they didn't include. But there also was some electronic style music, which I thought was kind of tastefully done and woven into the fabric of the film, and some of the moments where it became kind of like dream state, where he's eating the lotus, and then when he is going to Hades, and there's like the island where the dead people come alive again. It's sorry, spoilers. I
actually know this myth.
It was a good film. It was worth the watch, but I just thought like a lot of the acting kind of felt like just red. And
yeah, I feel like I go back and forth between being a huge grump and being like really fun when it comes to movies. Like, I don't know, the Odyssey sounds, I like Christopher Nolan's films. I really love Inception. Like, that movie was kind of like earth shaking when I saw it. I remember just thinking it was so smart, so incredible. But I feel like the thing about Christopher Nolan that I like, and I was actually just talking about this in a totally different context last night. I think that being really good at something means knowing that you're gonna not always hit it out of the park, and being okay with that and making the decision to do it anyway. And I like that about Christopher Nolan's films. I mean, he's always super successful and he's a genius and all these things, but I like that he makes the films, and they're all really different, and some of them are really amazing and some of them are kind of like people love them or they don't love them. And but I don't know, I like that he's kind of, to me, he seems like a risk taker more or less when it comes to his films.
It is refreshing to have somebody in control creatively, whereas I think a lot of Marvel, for example, is like written by a boardroom.
It does feel formulaic.
It feels like somebody had some creative vision and then got just outmoded, or their boss came in and was like, wouldn't that be great if we like also threw in a Coca-Cola reference, or it's just like has that vibe to it, where it's all of the creative choices get sort of like focus grouped out or finely tuned so that it absolutely appeals to everybody or whatever. And then in that vein, it just appeals to nobody.
Right.
And that's the problem with Hollywood these days.
Entry Points Radio, or get off our lawn. Richie and Kate complain about everything.
Yeah, well, I think that's like a good thing in life is you have to find things you like and things you don't like. And I think if you just fall off of that. Allow me to distill all of life into the dumbest sense.
Sorry, you were saying something.
No, I'm serious about this. Like, I think it's as you get older, you like climb over this fence. As a kid, like things are lovely and scary, but it's like it's not like you have things that you want to protest or that you don't like until you start to learn them. At which time, then you're like, oh, I don't like this about the government or this about Disney or this about blah blah blah. And then some people fall all the way over that fence and they don't like anything anymore as their advanced age sets in.
Yeah.
And that's it. I think it's like important to sit on both sides of that fence. And anyway.
I like that. I agree with you.
You have to like things and not like things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who goes first today? Your call today.
I can go first. Let me go first. I think you went first last time so that you could talk about me. Which,
that's right.
Want to again, you can.
You're not on my list this week. I'm sorry.
I didn't just blindly reciprocate either and put you on my list.
Oh, thank God. I was already on Carl's list, so it's fine.
I know. I'm super jealous. How dare
Carl likes me more than you.
That's fair.
Hey, did you rap with Carl? You rapped when you were on tour with Carl, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're fully a rapper. I'm
fully a rapper. Yeah. That was
add that to the list.
Add that to the list. I think I don't know how this probably happens to you all the time as a musician, but people are like, "Oh, you're in music. Like, what kind of music do you do?" And then you have to explain to them what you do. And sometimes it's easier just to be like, "I do pop music," and leave it at that. But sometimes you actually want to represent yourself correctly and say like, "Okay, well, I do a dozen different styles." I think it comes down to like, there are things that I want to express that sound better in different styles.
Yeah.
Sometimes a hip hop beat, sometimes like a cappella, sometimes a folksy guitar sound is just the way to go.
Yeah. You know I relate to that. That's why I always get mad when people call me an opera singer. I'm like, I love opera, but I am not an opera singer. Like, I sing opera and I also sing a million other things. Like, back off. Don't call me an opera singer.
Back off, bro.
Back
I'm
off,
not a
bro.
Rapper, so quit rapping at me. Let's just get into this because
let's get into this. Otherwise, I
could blab, and then it's like, oh, what is this podcast?
It's just yapping. Although apparently that's popular nowadays.
People like it. Yeah.
Don't take that thread. Don't take that thread. Don't take that thread. We'll never get to the music.
There we go. All right, here is my
Glenn
list.
Campbell! Nickel Creek. Yeah, Nickel Creek.
Okay. What's your reaction? I'm just like
Dilla.
Dilla.
I'm just excited to hear. I'm excited. Oh, you got Willie Nelson up there. I'm really curious, like what the story is. You've got so much country. What's going on, dude? John Prine. All right, let's hear it. Gospel Trains. Oh, Sister Rosetta Tharpe. Yeah. All right, I'll shut up.
No, you can keep going. I do have a lot of country on there. I think I got on a Glenn Campbell kick, and it just like took me on a country train. I actually have this song on here twice, and I thought about putting it together. Highwayman. It's Glenn Campbell did it, and then the Highwaymen did it later. Glenn Campbell did it first, although somebody else wrote it. It is a spectacular song, and it actually like thematically works with the Highwaymen. The idea is that like you kind of live forever. It's like a little bit of like a rebirth idea.
Oh, like the Highlander?
Kinda, yeah, I guess. Okay. But the concept is like it talks about like how this guy was he was a highwayman, and then he was a sailor, and then he was a dam builder, and like it goes through like these lives and how this guy died, but I'm still around. And so it kind of goes through 4 different lives, the last of which was like a spaceman. So it worked really well with the Highwaymen because there's 4 of them, and they each kind of like sing a verse, and it's this cool thing. But I really think the Glenn Campbell version is superior, even though it's just like one guy. The production in it, I think, is spectacular, and I think he sings it better. Sorry to the Highwaymen, but it's so good, and I've listened to it a few times. But you can pick. I put it on here twice just to be like, let me give you a taste of like either one. And if you're like a huge Willie Nelson fan and you can't separate yourself from his work, then you'll like him. The Highwaymen are Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, and Chris Christopherson.
Whoa.
It's like a super duper group. Yeah.
Whoa.
Mega group. And
wow.
Like, you know, everybody's heard of them kind of separately, but the fact that they kind of came together and did their own
I didn't know.
Band is cool. And so the song Highwayman kind of fits with Highwaymen. I don't know what inspired Chicken or the Egg, but it's such a cool song, and I think you really like it, and I think you're gonna like the Glenn Campbell version better. Yeah,
I'm intrigued to get to have the debate.
I split them up, but if you feel so inclined, you can jump around this list and play them back to back so that you can, you know, compare if you really want to. Sister Rosetta Tharpe is she is like a legendary guitarist. She's not a nun. The Sister Rosetta Tharpe part, the sister part, comes from she was part of a Church of God in Christ, which is like a Pentecostal church, and so like sisters is almost like an honorific. It's not like she went to a nunnery and studied nunning.
Nunnery is a whorehouse. Don't call it a nunnery.
Oh, wait, is it? No,
yes.
It's not.
Yes, get thee to a nunnery is not. Look it up. Let me make sure.
Wait, is that slang or is that like actually what it is?
I think it was Shakespearean slang.
Okay.
What is a nunnery?
Convent. The word I'm looking for is convent.
In Elizabethan and Renaissance English, nunnery was sometimes used as a slang term for a brothel.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, it's not that.
When he says, get thee to a nunnery. Isn't that funny? Right. Okay. Humans have always been funny, man. Anyway, okay. So she's not from a convent. Nor a nunnery.
Neither nor. Yeah, exactly. Neither a convent nor a nunnery. She is just an amazing guitarist, and she does this like really cool blues music, and a lot of it has gospel roots in it, and she is like one of the early greats of guitar. In fact, I think they've called her like the godmother of rock and roll. I know Elvis gets like the king of rock and roll, and there's other father and brother of rock and roll, but she is consistently referred to by guitarists as like an early inspiration. The way she plays, her style, her kind of looseness, but still accuracy as a guitarist and as a singer. Like she's fantastic, and it's an easy listen. You put it on and it's fun, and it's just like kind of, you want to get up and dance a little bit. So Jonah made the list. There's lots of other songs from her that are fun, that are different, that are interesting, but this is just one that I was like, let's get her on there.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought her up.
Yeah. Well, I realized too, like I made this whole list about guitar players, but I think it's important to recognize where guitar comes from. And there's a lot of amazing guitarists that go way further back than the ones that I put on my list before. And I kind of wanted to make sure that I honor the actual traditions from which guitar comes. So,
I would also just say from which rock guitar comes, because if you're going to go into guitar, there's so many other like styles, and they've got the flamenco people and the bossa people, and like where do you even begin with the history of guitar and where it began? It's just so guitar is like, there's just so much you could. I again tip my hat to you that you decided to even venture in your journey through guitar, because it's like, of course you're going to end up finding all these other people as time goes on being like, why didn't I put them? But that's the beautiful thing, right?
It is. And like there's pretty much every culture has their own version of a stringed instrument, and whether or not it's a 6-string guitar that we play, acoustic or electric, or an erhu or a banjo, like there's so many different versions of strung things, and some of them have animal skins, some of them don't, and here we are. So there's a million paths to go on there. But speaking of guitar, speaking of country, I'm going to jump down to John Prine, who passed away a few years ago, but was a legendary songwriter. And as a songwriter, you listen to his stuff and it just like captures you immediately. And the song is from the 70s. Your flag decal won't get you into heaven anymore. It's loaded, but
timeless.
It's timeless. Yeah, I was like, oh, I didn't. When did when you like look at the album and like, did this come out in like 2016 or something? Nope, 1971. And I don't know. I'm always intrigued by writers who kind of like try to take on bigger things like that and make it unique and interesting and turn it into like a kind of a fun song. It's definitely like a fun listen, and afterwards you kind of giggle at it and maybe think like this association sometimes between like having a flag in your car and getting into heaven is I don't know. It's a tenuous relationship at best, but John Prine is a fabulous songwriter, and I think you'll enjoy that listen. Let's move down. Nickel Creek is just like some fun bluegrass that I've always liked. They are also like incredible virtuosic players of like mandolin, guitar, and any other like stringed instruments that you kind of throw at them. Yeah. Fiddle, yep. What's the like difference between fiddle and violin? Like,
the way you hold a bow or something, right? The way you hold.
Well, maybe there's a real difference, but somebody told me once it was like, a violin, you use strings, but a fiddle is strangs. And other than that, there's no real difference.
I like that.
I like to think of instruments as like they're made for human beings. Like we made them to be played by us. But I think, and anytime you pick up any instrument, there's this level of like, let me just like understand a little bit like how it's interacted with. And aside from like pure virtuosity, I think you can get to a point quickly where once you understand like that connection between what's in my head and what's coming out of this instrument is just a small tactile thing. I think it's kind of almost as simple as like, you know, when you pat your head and rub your belly, like it takes 1 second of like, let me just get past this weird newness. And then after that, I think you can in a way like pick up anything as long as you can like connect to like the grand humanity of it all, where it's just like, I'm playing the same, you have the same hands as I do, which isn't always the case. You know, people are born with different shapes and bodies and everything, but generally speaking, they have the same hands and digits and movements as I do, and their elbows and everything. So if I can kind of like connect with them personally, then picking up their instrument isn't altogether impossible. That hasn't held true for like something like a saxophone or violin, where it's just so hard to like figure out how to get the tone to go through the reed or the string on the bow. But I remember there was a time in where's that? It's not the big castle. Neuschwanstein is in
Germany. It's in Bavaria, right?
Anyway, it's this big castle. We went to see it, and we were coming down, and there was a guy playing a hurdy-gurdy.
I love a hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah, it's this like cool little instrument. You have to kind of wind it and play at the same time. And I just like, I sat down for like a minute and watched him play and listened to it. And he was like, and he just like handed it to me. And I just started kind of like doing what he was doing. And then you start to understand like how it goes. And after a minute, you can get sound out of it and play a melody, even if it's just like really simple. But it's the same idea as a piano or a jack in the box. Like the functions are the same. It's not altogether that hard. It's just a matter of like connecting what's here. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I think instruments can be intimidating, but when you look at them as just like they're just human devices to make noise, I think it's less othered.
It's just another vehicle of expression. Since you brought up the hurdy-gurdy, I will forget this, and so I have to retroactively add a song to my list and tell you about it right now, which is one of the most powerful classical vocal songs ever, which is called Der Leiermann, which is the hurdy-gurdy man. It's at the end of his song cycle, Winterreise, which is a song cycle. Do you know what a song cycle is? It's like a poetry, cycle of poetry that's set to music and sung by a singer and a piano. Okay. So anyway, at the end of Winterreise, Der Leiermann comes on, and it's this like this kind of drone in the piano that's low, and he sings this poem where he talks about how like there's this old hunched over man who's just playing a hurdy-gurdy, and he talks about how like no matter what's kind of going on in the world, he just keeps playing the hurdy-gurdy. And at the very end, he says this line that I think is so powerful. He says, so there beyond the village stands a hurdy-gurdy player, and with numb fingers he plays as best as he can. Barefoot on the ice he totters to and fro, and his little plate remains forever empty. No one wants to listen. No one looks at him, and the dogs growl at the old man. And yet he lets everything go on as it will, plays, and his hurdy-gurdy never stops. Strange old man, shall I go with you? Will you turn your hurdy-gurdy to my songs?
Wow.
Isn't that deep?
It's in German? It's sung in German?
It's in German.
Okay, yeah.
And it's sung like it's usually performed by a very low voice, and it's a very low, somber song. And it's so powerful because talk about like the 1970s, like your flag decal won't get you into heaven. The lyrics to that poem, if you think about it just a little bit metaphorically, you can understand. He's talking about the plight of like an artist just continuing to play this music, even though the world just doesn't care. You know, the guy is hungry, he's like tattered and in the ice and everything, and he's still playing this hurdy-gurdy. I just think it's such a powerful song. I didn't mean to derail this whole discussion, but the fact that you talked about a hurdy-gurdy man in Germany when we're talking, I just need you to know about that song, and I want you to listen to it.
I want to
it's
now.
Dark.
That
it's
sounds
really
like,
dark, but it's really good.
That sounds like the guy that I came across. He was like kind of outside of town and sitting there, and it's cold because it's Germany, and it was like later in the year, and he's just. And the hurdy-gurdy, if you don't know it, like you're kind of turning this crank on there, and it gives you like this, and in the same sense as like a harmonium, you're like constantly having this tone, and you use the little keys on there to kind of obviously change the pitch, or play chords or whatever. Can you play chords? I can't remember. Anyway,
I don't know.
The point is, it's like it is a drone, and it's like it becomes sort of like mystifying or mesmerizing. To listen to this after a while. And if you're walking through the fields or the path, as it were, where we were, then you're like, you kind of don't notice it anymore, in the same way like crickets or cicadas become background noise and your brain starts to tune it out. And I wonder if that's, I'll have to listen to that song now and maybe like place this image of that hurdy-gurdiest in there. It's
so cool that you brought up that image, and it's just such an interesting. And when you listen to the song, you should know that it's at the end of this extremely long and very emotional song cycle by a guy who's a depressed, like he's had his heart broken. It's this whole thing. And so then that it ends on this like weird, just like hurdy-gurdy man playing on the edge of, it's just so cool. It's so metal. It's super metal.
It's actually so metal. Okay.
In my opinion. Anyway, okay, I'm doing a great job of like staying on.
Yeah, let me get through my list, Kate, and then you can add your own songs to your own damn list.
I wasn't gonna remember the hurdy-gurdy.
I know. No, I'm glad you did. Let me jump next on there. Let me keep throwing some hip hop into my list. Because we go
from hurdy-gurdy to Notorious
B.I.G.
It's amazing.
Exactly. This is the song. I like my list sometimes. Like I want to just like change the vibe sometimes. So sometimes you go from Nickel Creek's this side, which is this like it's really lovely strings and plucking, and then you go into this heavy, very violent song by the Notorious B.I.G. Anyway, it's this is the song that sold me on him. It's basically like two people that are robbing somebody or trying to get away from the police, and it sounds like it's sung by two different people, but it was him. He went into the studio and recorded one voice, and then went back and like recorded the other voice like a little higher, and so it kind of sounds like this conversation between two guys. And I was like, that's cool. I don't hear that like sort of storytelling and role playing that much in hip hop, and I was like, that's unique, that's different. And this was from a long time ago, like this was from decades ago, and I still don't hear like that kind of like juxtaposition. So I just liked how he was able to like change his voice, tell a story. It would be like you were hanging out with him on the street, and he's like, yeah, this guy said this, and then this guy said this, and that's kind of the vibe of this track. And it's really cool. I like it. That's awesome. And a lot of people listen to it still, and they're like, who is that other guy on the track? And it's Notorious on both lines.
That's awesome.
So that's fun. Under that is Easy Bob Weezy. He's from our program in Nigeria. All she cares about is the weed. This song is about a girl who smokes too much weed. And it would just come on. And the funny thing is, like, he's complaining in this song about how much weed she's smoking. She's like, the room is full of fumes and it's like too much. And he just wants to talk. And it's But when it came on, everybody's like, "Oh, this song's about weed!" Oh. And so like it was just like it's kind of funny because it's not a good like view of potheads. It's more like all she wants to talk about is that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's funny. Anyway, check it out. Easy Bob Wheezy, which is a great name.
That is a great name. Yeah.
Under
From
that,
Abuja, right?
From Abuja.
Yeah. Nice.
From Abuja. Cobarde. This song is just really beautiful, and I've had it on my go-to list of tracks for a long time, and I don't know what it means. I just like it, and it sounds really sweet. So listen to it.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's all I got for you. I'm just like, it's in another language. I think it's Spanish, and yeah, I'm gonna go in full. Like, I don't know what it means. I'm ignorant on this, but I just like the song, and I think you will too.
Love that. Love that for you.
Love that for you. Of course, we're switching it up from, we go hip hop to like ballad, Spanish piano vocals to like electro tracks. Detach and Besito are like, they're just like kind of good electronic music and good vibes that I've had on my list as well for a while. And yeah, so I think sometimes with electronic music, there's not much to say about it. Like, a lot of it doesn't really dive into the heavy stuff of like your flag decal won't get you into heaven.
Right.
But it's just, it transports you. And I think that goes back to the days of like Brian Eno, where he kind of like pushed this whole thing of like create spaces with music. Don't just create like music that you like, but you're trying to transport somebody somewhere else. And anytime I listen, I think that's why I like electronic music, is because it does that.
Yeah.
The next on there is a Jay Dilla song. There's other stuff that he's got that's just like not on Spotify, or that is, he made all kinds of beats, and so like his work is on other artists' stuff that you wouldn't know is his, or he's inspired other stuff, like MF Doom, for example, that has made the list too. But this song I put on there particularly because it does this like tempo shift, which you don't often hear in music. Like it goes through this, like the speed is that, and then it slows down for a bit of it, and then it picks back up again, and it's just like it does that for each little section, and it like somehow that works. And especially when you're sampling music and putting together loops and beat loops, which is such a hip hop thing. You think about a DJ that just cuts a piece of the record and does a needle drop at like this point and then loops it. It's hard to like shift from that tempo, because it's going to play the same thing over and over. If you shift that, it gets weird. But this song does it, and it works so well. And it's like, you don't hear that so much. And I get so bored with stuff that I'm like, give me something different. And this is different.
That's awesome.
Check that one out. Highwaymen.
You got me into Jay Dilla.
I got you into Jay Dilla. Okay.
I think so. I think years ago I was like, "What are you listening to?" You're like, Jay Dilla.
You're like, okay.
Anyway.
There's a whole book about him. He was a Detroit guy, and died pretty young for his accolade. And I think, having died young, I think some of his stuff has become, mythical at this point. But really is influential in a lot of beat makers now, and any respectable beat maker these days. If you don't know Jay Dilla, you don't know nothing. Anyway, so check it out, Jay Dilla, Don't Cry. I've already talked about Highwayman, but this is the version with the other four guys on there. And then I did it last week. I'm gonna do it again. This song, Nutbush City Limits, it is an Australian palate cleanser, although it's not from an Australian. Tina Turner is American. There is a version with Ike Turner on there as well, but Ike was abusive, and I was like, I don't need to include him in this. So just Tina. We'll do the Tina version.
Just Tina. Heck yeah.
I don't know why this song is like, the Aussies have adopted Nutbush City Limits. I don't even know where Nutbush is. But there's like a whole dance to go with it, kind of like a line dance. And
did they take their pants off?
This one is not a pants off song. That was last week's Eagle Rock. Yeah. This song is pants are on, but you're Nutbush City Limits. It's just like they always play it in the same way we play either Electric Slide or Macarena. I don't know if we still do that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm getting older now, but you go to a wedding in Australia, this song will play.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You've really gotten me. I now have a soft spot for Australia that I didn't have before because I've just heard so many funny and sweet stories about Australian culture. It's cute.
Yeah, I like it. It's kind of like they got all of the stuff like 6 months late out there, and they're like, all right, we'll do this too. Like it's so
Right.
they're pretty casual about like what they, about things in general, but also like if they don't like it, they don't like it, and they're not really subject to the whole like media hype machine that we have here in the U.S.
Yeah.
That it's changing now because the internet makes the reach of Warner Brothers a lot further, but it's just like it's such a lovely place, and they have like their kind of like funny little things that they do, and it's Australia, mate. It's like it's lovely. Like they have a kangaroo on their flag. It's like, all right, why not? Let's do that. It's so nice. Amazing. All right. Anyway, that's my list. Thank you very much.
I'm excited to hear it. Richie's lists. I hope that more people discover this and discover the lists because there's some really good tunes. And it's funny. I don't know about you, but every now and then I feel like I hold back being like, oh, I'll wait till we have a larger following to share this song. And lately I've just been like, screw it. Like I want to share the good songs. And yeah.
That reminds me, there was, I think it showed up in a movie one time, but it's kind of maybe just wider a philosophy. And it's this concept of like, if you have to swim across a lake, like the best way to do it is not planning to come back. And what I mean by that is like, you don't get like 3/4 of the way and give up. If you do that, you aren't going to make it. Or, if you get 1/4 of the way out, then you think like, I'm going to have enough to like come back. Instead, like just plan to go all the way on the first go. And that speaks to like life in general. Life is short. I don't know if I'm going to make it next week to do another podcast. Exactly. I like not saying that like I'm not, health or whatever is an issue, but it's like, I don't know, maybe my microphone fails and maybe I forget, or maybe internet's bad. And so like, let me put my best stuff up now, and then I'll just count on next week. Yeah, exactly. YOLO. You only live once, and also you only like are alive now. And so I'm not going to wait till next week to give you the goods.
Yeah, I like that. That's like the Napoleon burning the ship story. Do you know about that? The Napoleon told his men during one of the invasions of somewhere to burn the ships when they got to the place they were gonna. And the whole idea was that there's no going back. Only forward. The only way out is through. And it was super toxic. It's Napoleon, but there is something kind of existentially powerful about thinking about that. Anyway, I love that.
Yeah, the ethics of taking away somebody else's retreat is...
it's Napoleon.
It's questionable. Yeah, and it works in a way.
We make what we can of history,
Well, sure, yeah. Anyway. All right, should we go to your list?
Let's do it. Let's go to it. I'm excited.
You better be excited. Here we go. Kate's Week 11 list.
Yay!
There it is. Ooh, okay. Yeah. All right, we got some jazz in here. We got... Oh, you got MF Doom. We were just talking about MF Doom. That's crazy.
I have a whole story about that.
Cool. Okay. UFO. There's another song I like called UFO that is from a completely different artist, but I want to know about this one. And Tujum, that seems Indian to me, or around there.
Oh, God. Pakistani, that is the song upon which this entire week is circling.
Do you want to start there, or is that like, do we end there?
No, I want to end there.
Also, I love this. I don't know if like this is part of the conversation, but the like smiley face emoji, or just like the text that is that. There's a whole movement of like there's like a whole like anti-commercialized music subculture that has really always been around. And speaking of like electronic music and dance culture, there's a lot of like, you've heard of like the secret raves and the places where it's like pop-up concerts. They're meant to be like attended by people who just like the music. They're not intended to be like the next big thing that that Live Nation is going to support. And so as part of that, like they recognize that like music, when people like it, that's when it becomes commercialized. And so they have to intentionally build these borders around it to say like, I'm only going to let you into this if I know that you like this. And now that everything is searchable and findable, there is a whole like anti-algorithm movement where people will name things that like you can't search.
God, what a joy that would be to have enough people that knew your work that you were able to be, insist on being niche. I don't mean to. Yeah. I think it's beautiful that this movement exists. I just sometimes feel a little bit. It's just so sad to think that we spend so much of our lives just trying to get anyone to listen, and then you finally get someone to listen, and you spend so much of your lives trying to get people to not know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you really think about the point of music, it's not what we do now. Like this whole bullshit of trying to like get on Spotify playlists and do the tour is like it's removed from like this need to express ourselves and communicate, and it's become like I love pop music as much as the next fella, but to create music simply for the sake of making money is like it's an assault on music in a real way, and I'm guilty of it too. Like we're just making music, I think, to make music, but like I completely understand these movements. I think they come from some of these like artist houses where people would get together and they would pool their money to live in a like kind of arts commune, and really the point was like make art for art's sake. Ars Gratis Artis, whatever the MGM logo is on top of there. Do you know what I'm talking about? So if you look at the MGM logo, the one with the lion on it, part of it on the top of that like gold circle is Ars Gratis Artis, which is like art for the sake of arts, which for a giant company like MGM is maybe
had to start somewhere, I guess.
Yeah, it had to start somewhere. But like the philosophy and the point behind it is that like doing art because art needs to be done is a different animal than doing art because you think it's going to sell. And it goes back to the point of like of the Odyssey versus like Marvel films, like directors having enough money to like follow a creative vision versus like having a boardroom create a movie that's going to sell. Like there's a line to toe there, I think. Anyways, I'm going way off topic for your playlist. I'm sorry I've gone that far without.
No, I just there's so much further that I would want to take it, and I'm kind of trying to debate. I understand and agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I do also think that it's a very sad contrast. I mean, it would be great to make money from my music, but what would be even better would be for anyone to hear it. I know so many independent artists, ourselves included, who have made really good music that because they didn't have the funding or the connections or the luck or whatever it is, didn't show enough skin, whatever the reason is, they weren't able to get exposure to their music. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've come across the problem of, it's not that people don't like it. It's that people literally don't know it exists. Mm-hmm. And it's just, to me, it's so sad. It's that if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. It's not always about making money, but I do know that as an artist, one of my deepest sources of grief for my whole life has been that I just, kept making art that mattered to me. And I don't think that fame is equivalent to value. There are lots of artists who are super famous, who are amazing. And there are lots of artists who are super famous, who are, formulaic, like what you're talking about, kind of pumped out by labels or whatever, or now AI. But there are also there was a really famous jazz singer. She wasn't famous when she was alive. Was it Eva Cassidy? I don't remember. But there are these singers who become famous posthumously, and artists who die unknown and then endure throughout history. And it's an interesting conversation. I don't look down on those movements at all. What I was saying was less about looking down on them and more about what a blessing that would be to get to the point in your career where you decided that you wanted to make art for art's sake, regardless of if anyone heard it, because that people are going to hear it anyway. A lot of these a lot of these people who are part of these movements, if you're talking about Christopher Nolan versus, Marvel movies, like those are people are going to watch a Christopher Nolan movie no matter what, So then you have to wonder, like, how did he get to be Christopher? Anyway, we could go on forever. And so I'm not even trying to be contrarian with what you're saying. It's just, it triggers something in me that feels like...
No, I understand. And like, as two people that have like tried to, yes, and like, we have tried to make money doing music, and we are recognizing the struggle in that. I think that is like that forest, that tree falling in the forest, like there is a whole community there too. So they are like supporting each other within that community. And so I think it's less of like just one guy over there making art because he wants to, and more like they have decided to separate from this glob of commodified music and go off and kind of create their own world, which does support itself, and there are enough people in there where they can kind of do their own thing.
I feel like there's this over romanticized notion that artists do it for art's sake, and we do, but it's tough when you're doing it for art's sake and you're not making any money, and you also don't have a community, and you also don't have people who care enough to listen, and we live in a world that's increasingly siloed. It just makes me sad. Anyway, I'm not trying to argue with you. It's just triggering to talk
No,
about
we could go down this for ever. There's so much to talk about with this. But I do like that you have a song on here that is just a smiley face text emoji. Okay,
Japanese House. I don't know how I know them. I love them. I think it's a her. I think it's one. I don't know. But there's so many. Every time a song by the Japanese House comes on, I'm always like, who is this? I love this. And there's so many songs I wanted to put on this playlist. I think my entry point to the Japanese House was a song called Dion, which is just, I love it. I love it so much. I don't know enough about who they even are, but this is I think a recent song that came out, and it's just a really happy song. It's just kind of talking about how like something's kind of shifted and I feel happier. So anyway, that's that song. It's I don't think it has anything to do with the movement that you're talking about, but it's a great song.
Almost certainly not. And,
almost certainly not.
It's just a smiley face. So,
but check out the Japanese House. The Japanese House is a really, really good group.
I'm curious. I know American Hotel. They're a band, but Japanese House, I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. And French Laundry.
The first
That's a restaurant, right?
Yes.
Sorry. All right. Anyway.
No, you're getting back at me. I knew you were going to get back at me for derailing your playlist.
Take that.
Two Little Men in a Flying Saucer is an Ella Fitzgerald tune that is so apropos. It's about two little aliens flying down to Earth and seeing all the BS going on down here and being like, we don't want this. And they quickly fly away.
See you later.
It's just a really cute song, and it's kind of, I don't know, like lately here in America, it's like, oh, now we can't have blueberries either. Like the lettuce is infected, the blueberries are infected, what else? The eggs are infected. Yep. Like we can't eat anything in America right now because we no longer have a governmental organization that regulates our food.
Just drink Gatorade. You need the electrolytes.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's going on. And then there's videos of these bulldozers going in and bulldozing Big Bend National Park, ostensibly to build this border wall. But then the government is saying, oh, it's not for that. But then what is it for? And either way, there are bulldozers that are ripping apart, one of our most precious resources in our country. I'm seeing videos of that. And it's just like... Oh, now there's like electrocution shock gloves that like the ICE the border agents are using. And it's like, can we stop being horrible? Like, please, can I eat blueberries? Can I just have a blueberry? So that's, I don't know.
You can.
Anyway,
you can eat it.
I feel like we've had some weeks recently that I've been like really upset about this stuff, and this week I just kind of feel like this Ella Fitzgerald song. Like I just can imagine these little aliens flying down and be like, "Well, this is pretty." Like, oh, the blueberries are infected. Like, we're out.
Great choice.
So that's that. And then Where or When. Benny Goodman is one of my favorite I guess instrumental jazz musicians. I just love Benny Goodman, clarinet player for anyone who doesn't know. I have all of these records of Benny Goodman, vinyl records that I got at a thrift store for really cheap many years ago, and I just got super into Benny Goodman because I had all these records. And Where or When is a really beautiful song. It's a really great recording. It's very very happy old school jazz. And there's a singer on it. I don't remember who the singer is. It's probably some famous jazz singer. The lyrics are really beautiful. It's just talking about how like it feels like we've met before. I can't remember where or when. It's just a really lovely kind of dreamy jazz song. And it just came to mind. Speaking of dreamy, I didn't do that intentionally, but the next song, Liebestraum in German, means dream of love. And it's a beautiful list. So, we've talked a lot about piano and how much I love piano and piano repertoire. And I love jazz piano. I love classical piano, honky-tonk piano, ragtime piano. Like, give me a piano. I love a piano. I love a piano. Do you know that song?
It sounds like it reminds me of the Bugs Bunny. I love to sing in the moon and the June and the spring. Is that Bugs Bunny? I don't know.
I don't know, but it is a similar vibe.
Wow. I'm clearly the erudite music scholar that should be running.
Well, I think it's so funny. We're going to talk about this in a second. We're about to get to the erudite thing. But before we get there, I'll say that Lang Lang is a pianist, a Chinese pianist, very famous in the classical music world. And it's interesting. There are a lot of classical pianist friends who I went to college with who were very judgy of Lang Lang. They would act as though he was just very showy. And, granted, every classical pianist, once you start to be able to hear, like you were talking about last week, Richie, when you're able to start to hear their different voices and personalities come out through the piano, there are certain long recordings and performances that I have not loved as much as others. And I think there's also just this bullying mentality in some of the as soon as you get into a scene, people can be very judgy of like, oh, you like the famous song, like, okay, you're like Lang, cool, like it's not a deep cut, but I feel like Lang in this recording, I really enjoy his interpretation of this particular piece, and I think it's really beautiful. It's just a very beautiful song. You might recognize it. It's probably in a lot of movie soundtracks and stuff. It's just a beautiful song. It's a very nice song to have the sun rays coming in through the window and you just kind of sit back and listen to this beautiful piano music. Have like a piece of fruit or something. I don't know. It's nice.
Choose wisely right now.
It's a real, yeah. So that's that. Go ahead.
I think this comes up every once in a while, but I have no time for people that are snobby about musicians and say like, oh, it's too showy or not showy enough or what. That is like the least effective criticism that I hear. This industry, the idea of art itself, like there's so much room here, and you can come in and be a showy piano player or not, or you can be the quiet one. From what I understand, Liszt is like very complicated and hard to play. I could be wrong about that, but like,
yeah, Liszt is hard to play. He was also a hottie, by the way.
It was also a hottie. That probably doesn't hurt your cause, and if you're trying to become I don't know, whatever court is like.
He needed a patron, just like in today's day.
Exactly. Those patrons, they don't want to just hear stuff. They got eyes too. So. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like when people get like so pretentious, I think, about like, oh, you don't like the hard to find stuff.
Yeah.
What? Who cares? Like that, I like the stuff that I like, and I think those people be damned. They're just jealous.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it isn't. I will say though, as an opera singer, sometimes it's difficult when people will say they love opera and then they'll talk about, I don't know, Sarah Brightman or some of these kind of pop, Andrea Bocelli, who's Andrea Bocelli is actually very talented, and so is Sarah Brightman. I think what makes me sad sometimes as an opera singer is I feel like if people could hear Pavarotti sing, or if they could hear a recording of I don't know, Jesse Norman, some of these opera legends, and hear them next to Sarah Brightman, I think then they would at least be able to understand that it's not that Sarah Brightman isn't a beautiful singer in her own right, but it's a different style of music that she's singing than what opera really is. And so when people think that Sarah Brightman is the representative of all that is opera, that's when it gets a little bit sad, because it's not Sarah Brightman's fault, but it's not the purest expression of the genre. So I do kind of, I kind of understand that to a certain degree, but I think that the judgment on Lang Lang in general is just kind of like, okay, I don't know, like, it's like when classical musicians will be judgy about John Williams. It's like, okay, fine. So you don't think his music is as complex as, oh yeah, a lot of classical musicians will be like, oh, John Williams writes like catchy pop tunes. And it's like, yeah, and they're great. And so is like a Mahler symphony is amazing, and so is John Williams, and they don't have to be the same. You don't need to hold them against each other. Anyway,
that's so funny that John Williams.
I didn't mean to go on
music
forever about
too.
Lang Lang.
No. Like, no pop radio station is gonna drop the Indiana Jones theme song. Like, it's just not pop music. And so to complain that like this is not opera, but then say it's pop. But really, from a pop perspective, like, this isn't pop. It's more opera than pop. It's like, if you don't want me to like overly generically classify this music, then don't do it to me too. Or maybe on the flip side of that, reckon that like I don't know much opera, and I think it's like I like the idea of opera, and my only entry into this is Sarah Brightman, whether or not it's technically opera or not. It's I don't know. I think that's I think the semantics and the definitions and the like you can only do this style of music if you're allowed to is so exclusive. I don't like it.
If I spoke about how much, in fact, I'm about to tell you about Doomsday, so I'll get into it right now. So I was out and he's really into hip hop and really knows a lot about hip hop, like really knows a lot and is passionate about it. And we were talking about, he was asking me who my favorite rappers are, because I was telling him that I really enjoy hip hop. And the rappers I told him, a few of them I would consider myself pretty knowledgeable about, one being Dr. Dre, because I grew up on the Dre and Snoop Chronic 2001 album. And like one of them being Busta Rhymes. And when he asked me what my favorite song is by Busta Rhymes, the first song that came to mind was Look at Me Now, which I didn't remember was his like super mega hit with Chris Brown. And I kind of looked like a dope when I was like, yeah, I love Busta Rhymes. Yeah, my favorite song is the song that like 415 million people have heard. And I felt kind of like, oh, do I prove that I really like hip hop by giving all the deep cuts? And I don't know all the deep cuts. And then I said I love D12 because I do. I've learned a lot of D12 stuff because of Carl, because of our friend Carl, who is the DJ for D12, DJ Invisible. He does record scratching. And I didn't realize that D12 was a group of a lot of different rappers who were all extremely famous in their own right. I didn't realize it. All this time I've listened to D12 music and I recognize that there were different voices, but there's always so many collaborations in different rap songs that I just didn't really process what it was. And I felt so stupid. I felt so stupid and so ignorant. And I had this moment that I thought, oh my gosh, I consider myself so knowledgeable about so many different styles of music. Yeah. But if there's one thing I'm learning doing entry points with you, it's that we need to feel more comfortable being ignorant about things and still loving them. We need to be able to feel comfortable being like, I don't know much about opera. My only moment into opera was hearing Sarah Brightman, and I don't know if that really even encapsulates opera. And then you get to have someone who's into opera be like, oh, yeah, Sarah Brightman's not really, opera. Like, here, listen to Pavarotti. If I was able to approach someone with Sarah Brightman with the same grace that I have been approached about this hip hop conversation, then I think that maybe more people could have more grace being like, yeah, I don't know much about opera. I'd love to learn more. And I think instead what we so often do is we put up these walls with each other of like, oh, you don't really understand this thing that I understand. And therefore we can't connect on this. And I think then we all get afraid to be ignorant.
I think part of this podcast has been a little confronting at times, because you'll ask me like, oh, here's this like random artist X. Do you know them? Or do you know the Orpheus story? And I don't. And I think sometimes like my personal self, I'm like, oh, I don't know everything. Like, how confronting. I don't want to look like I don't know everything, especially on a feed. And I've had to like think about that a couple of times and then be like, no, like I think first of all, I'm a human and I have to learn things. And so it just takes time to do that. Like I don't come out of the womb knowing like, oh, tell me more about this Greek history that I don't know anything about. You just don't know that. And so like there is a level of like, I've had to learn in my life how to learn things, learn to learn. And so I think having that on the podcast, like showing me not knowing stuff it has some value of like, okay, if you don't know something, like here's how you can learn it. And then to your credit, here's how you can tell somebody about these things without being a complete jerk about it. And I think that's nice to see. Like, I think, you know, our process now with AI, like we all know everything now because we just know it. But the reality is like, I don't know everything despite what I would have people believe.
I agree completely. And I think that this experience talking about hip hop the other night was really, it was actually what I thought about if I wanted to share it because I felt really embarrassed about it. If we can't acknowledge and be comfortable with the fact that you only know as much as you know until you know more.
And
then we're not going to enjoy exploring.
That you know something anyway.
Well, right. That's the other thing.
That I know that I don't remember.
Right. And that was the interesting thing about MF Doom is that when he was bringing up MF Doom, I remember in my mind thinking, I've heard of MF Doom. I know I've heard of MF Doom. Like, and I've heard of MF Doom because I think you've even brought an MF Doom song maybe to Entry Points Radio. And I just didn't, it was like in that context and that environment. And I was already feeling kind of insecure about my hip hop knowledge and oh my God. Yeah. And anyway, there's so much to say about that story and about just kind of that experience and also just about how impressed I am when I'm talking with people who approach other people's ignorance with grace and how much space that gives us to just be honest. That was one thing that I took away from this. But the other thing was that then after listening to Doomsday, I actually went and did some research on MF Doom on my own. And I was absolutely stunned. I was completely blown away learning about how I didn't know that he lost his brother and that he went through this dark depression, that he then created like Doomsday was a song about losing his brother, and it was about how he then created these personas that defined what became this legendary underground rap career that inspired all of these people, including Tom York, who's one of my heroes from Radiohead, and like learning about the different albums and just the different, like the fact that he performs with this metal mask and that it has this artistic, and we were talking, there were so many things about MF Doom and about hip hop that I learned because I was so affected by my own ignorance about not knowing who he was and not understanding more about the song. And that brings me to the final thing about this song and this whole kind of tangent that I've been exploring. I was listening to the radio the other day, and he was talking about an Aphex Twin song that was, he didn't know what the title meant. The DJ on the radio didn't know what the title meant, and he thought maybe it was gibberish. He didn't know. He looked up the title, and it turned out the title was in like Cornish or something like that. Aphex Twin is from Cornwall, and he said that. The DJ said, oh, okay, so the title is in Cornish. But he never said what it meant. He never translated the title. He just said it's in Cornish. And I thought, how interesting. You just got under the surface of this, but you didn't go any deeper. You didn't want to know? Like, you didn't want to know what it meant? And I don't know. So that's my MF Doomsday story. I didn't intend to go on so long, but yeah.
That's great. All right, well.
Kate's journey into...
There are plenty of hip hop heads that know kind of the bare stuff about MF Doom or don't know him at all, and that's their perspective. So you found a way. You found your own entry point, and that's all right. Back to your list. Let me reshare it.
Back to my list. Thank you.
My screen went down for a bit.
Okay, so next on the list, and I'm gonna try to go quickly. So for Aisha, it's interesting. Doomsday, when I learned about the history behind Doomsday and the story about his brother and just the tragedy of the whole thing, this song for Aisha I had heard before when I was living in India, and I didn't know the backstory of that, which was also, it was It's about a woman named Aisha Chaudhary, an author and a speaker who died of pulmonary fibrosis. And they made a documentary about her life, and her brother produced the song. Her brother is Memba, and Memba is Indian but grew up in America. And he wrote the songs. He wrote the song with a guy named Will Curry, who he met by chance during an archaeological dig in the forests of India.
What?
Will Curry, the other producer who worked with Ishan Chowdhury, who's Aisha Chowdhury's sister, Will grew up playing in a Zimbabwean-style marimba band, while Ishan was raised on Bollywood and Sufi rhythms. And so the vibe of this song is just very unique. And when I was learning more about why it was unique, I was really, as two cross-cultural musicians, I just thought that was amazing that that's how the two producers met each other. But even cooler is that Evan Gia, who you see the name there, is the vocalist, one of the vocalists in the piece, and she is a trained opera singer who married Ishan Chowdhury. She married the producer. This opera singer married the producer, and she recorded the English hook for this song as a part of it. So Ishan went to India to work more with these Indian musicians. And then the Nuran sisters, I don't even need to look at my notes about this. I love Sufi music, which you'll hear about in a minute, but the Nuran sisters are a very famous duo, a Punjabi duo that sing Sufi music. And the fact that they got them to also participate in this song. And so you'll hear there's different languages in this song. There's a sampling of this one track that is a special thing between him and his sister. Anyway, it's just an incredible song. And I was really moved to learn that it's a tribute. I mean, it's called For Aisha, so obviously it's a tribute, but I didn't know it was produced and written by Aisha's brother. Tribute. Yeah. So I kind of thought that was, and I didn't intentionally put Doomsday and For Aisha on the same playlist. I just thought that was kind of a beautiful similarity. So that's that song. It's a really cool song. And I would be curious to hear what you think, Richie, because I didn't even realize there were so many different elements from around the world in it. But now that I know, I can hear it, and it's really cool to hear. It sounds on first listen kind of like a hip-hoppy, pop-y Indian song, but not Indian. I don't know. It's cool. Anyway, so give it a listen, see what you think.
I will, and I guess I need to go on more archaeological digs to meet musicians.
Isn't that cool? What a cool. I think my life is cool.
How does one end up on a dig?
Zimbabwean, and who plays in a Zimbabwean marimba band? That's just it's so cool. There's so many amazing musicians. It just goes back to the same thing we keep saying. So many amazing musicians all over the world doing interesting stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So going from the deep into the mainstream, I'm so glad Olivia Dean is now mainstream. I think she's such a remarkably talented singer and singer-songwriter. I love her music. I don't think there's an Olivia Dean song I've heard that I haven't liked, to be honest. UFO is, I think it's probably not one of her better known songs, but I love it. She's talking about being new to being in love, but she describes it by saying she's trying to fly a UFO, and she doesn't really do it often, and she doesn't really know how she's gonna make it work. And it's a really beautiful song, and I like it when obviously so many songs. As songwriters, we can all agree that so many songs that we write are about love and about relationships and about, matters of the heart. And when people are able to find ways to sing about love or to write about love that are creative and kind of quirky like this, I really enjoy. Mm-hmm. I also just realized that I've got the Two Little Men in a Flying Saucer and then a UFO song.
I was going to mention, you got some space themes happening.
Space themes.
MF
so that's
Doom
UFO.
is kind of a comic book. Anyway,
yeah. Man,
surrealism
I'm
here.
Still just so excited about this whole MF Doom rabbit hole. Anyway, the next song is just a stunning song that I know you will love, Richie. It's Voces 8 is a choral group. Yeah, a cappella choral group. And they're just, it's funny. So Richie comes from the a cappella genre. Part of his musical background comes from that. Part of my musical background comes from the Western classical vocal genre. And so I sang for many, many years in basically an a cappella group, although it was a classical Renaissance vocal group. So it was like 8 people. I sang in this professional vocal group for many years when I lived in New York City, and we sang Palestrina and Josquin and these like Renaissance composers that wrote this absolutely divine music that I'll be sharing, I'm sure, in the future on my playlists. And so we both have this background that is like, I sang for many years basically a cappella, but it wasn't a cappella. It was, called Renaissance, classical music, polyphony. And what I love about Voces 8 is I feel like they bridge the genre. They're known as an a cappella group, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're from England, right? London or Great Britain?
Somewhere. I don't know. Probably. I'm ignorant on that.
No. As like an aside, like the whole a cappella thing, it means like church music, because during those times, like they didn't allow instruments into churches, and so you had to sing, otherwise you were unholy. So your Renaissance music that you were singing, just vocal, was probably more a cappella than a lot of a cappella.
Oh yeah. It was the origin, the grandfather, if you will.
I will.
But so the reason I love this song, first of all, it's just absolutely goosebump inducing beautiful. Secondly, it's a Hafiz poem, and it's, I think I could even quote it probably off the top of my head. It's the sun never, even after all this time, the sun never says you owe me. And then it says something like, look at a love like that. It lights up the whole sky. Isn't that beautiful? The sun never says you owe me. I love that. So it's a beautiful song. Okay. So the final song on my list is one of the most important songs in my entire life. The first time I heard this song was a friend of mine named Enayat Ullah, who lives in Pakistan. He is an amazing person, an incredible musician. He now is a bureaucrat. He is incredibly smart. He's passionate, visionary human being. And I got to meet him I think it was during COVID, actually, that we got in touch, because I was doing this project that you and I worked on, Richie, the like 25-minute prayer. Yeah. Enayat had COVID, so he wasn't able to record for it, but we ended up becoming friends, and since then have been in touch for many years, and have wanted to do a project together for many years, maybe sometime in the future. But when we were talking about doing projects, it must have been about 5 or 6 years ago. He sent me this song, and he was like, you've got to hear this. And true story, as soon as Abida Parveen started to sing, I have goosebumps just remembering this. This is going to sound really, really extra, but I fell to my knees. It was so stunning.
Wow.
I don't know, sometimes you hear a song and it just hits something in you that's like, I don't know why. We talked about this the other week, the familiarity or something, but this just felt deeper. I had no idea what she was singing about. I had no idea what was happening. And again, true story, I remember when I listened to this song, it was long before you and I started Global Music Collective, and I remember just being like, I need to go to that part of the world. So this song is from Pakistan. Abida Parveen, one of the most legendary Sufi singers. She's like another creature. I don't even know. I don't have words to describe what her music has meant to me ever since I first heard this song. I have learned a little bit about her over the years. I know that she grew up in an age where women were not supposed to sing the style of music that she has now become a legend in singing. And her father heard her sing, and her father said basically, like, we can't deny this talent. Like, this needs to be heard. Her voice carries something that is beyond language, and it's beyond anything. And when you listen to it, I wonder if you'll feel the same way. But as soon as she starts singing, it's like, what? So that's Abida Parveen. Nasibo Lal in her own right is also a legend, and she's a Punjabi singer. They're both Sufi singers. Sufi music, for anyone who doesn't know, Sufi music is an entire genre of music in the India, Pakistan kind of region and beyond. It's traditionally music that's not really written about love between humans, but more about love with the divine. I mean, it's Sufi, so there's a mystical element to it. It's extremely popular in that part of the world. And I love it because it's just really deep, really powerful, soulful music. And usually the singers are absolutely incredible. So anyway, this song, when I first heard it, has traveled with me through so many chapters of my life. I remember a few times listening to this song that will stick with me forever. One of the verses, my favorite verse, says, "I am not in my right mind. I don't know anything. I just sing in my madness. Even if I make the whole world happy, I know I still won't find peace. Even if I find all the happiness, what will I have after I die? I reason with my heart that there is nothing in your control. So relax and just spin." Tujum is spin. You spin, you spin.
Spin.
And so the whole song is kind of about this, like she sings the word divani, which means crazy. But it's a kind of crazy, as far as I know, the translation of divan is crazy that's like, in a kind of higher level crazy. It's not just like, oh, you're a kook. It's like, oh, you are mad with something. Like you are mad with devotion, mad with love, mad with joy, whatever. So yeah, this song is so special. There's one final memory that I have to say about it, which is that when we were in Turkmenistan, we were in the bus, the tour bus with Dovran Shamuyev, who is a dear friend. Dovran is like a pop star in Turkmenistan. Like,
Star.
Yeah, like probably one of the, and also just one of the most lovely, kind, wonderful lights of a human being that I've ever known. And I was listening to this song, and I'm so cheesy, but every time I listen to the song, I find myself close to tears. And I was looking out the window, and we were driving through the desert in Turkmenistan, from, I don't know, Ashgabat to Turkmenbashi or something. And I remember distinctly the landscape was just this like strange high step desert landscape that you see in Central Asia. And there are just these like brown rocks and kind of like mountains, but they're rocks, and then just sand everywhere, and literally just camels walking by. I mean, I remember we're driving by and there's just this group of camels that's just walking alongside the van, and I'm listening to this song and just feeling some kind of a way. And Dovran's like, "What are you listening to?" And I told him it's my favorite song, and I told him the translation of the poem, and I made him listen to it. And that experience of getting to share the song that is so just like profoundly important to me at this point, with this beautiful colleague and friend who I've now known for a number of years and gotten to work with musically in so many different ways, and to get to see his reaction, and how much it moved him too, that this song from these singers in Pakistan moved two people from other parts of the world who didn't even understand the words or exactly what they were saying. It's just, there really is, it's kind of a overdone phrase, but the universal language of music, you and I have talked about it a fair amount today even. There's something about it that just, in this song in particular, it transcends something that's, it hits me viscerally every time I hear it. So, I don't even know if I did it justice, but that's my explanation about Tujum. Did I make you listen to it on that trip?
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing that strikes me about this story is that you were struck by it without knowing what it meant, and before you knew the words, it brought you to your knees with this, just the sense of it. And not to like draw a direct line between this and Brian Eno, but the idea of like you can express what you want musically. And not just through lyrics, certainly through them as well, but be able to say something so impactful just with how you sing something, even if somebody couldn't understand it. I think that's a really remarkable thing. And what a cool song to then share with somebody else who doesn't speak the language, and to have that impact them as well, and to have them take their interpretation from it.
I think as a singer, something about Abida Parveen, the uniqueness of her voice, the power of her expression, there's something about her it's just transcendent. She's just transcendent. I'm so glad that she's alive. I'm so glad that she's on the planet, and that people like this are out there making music,
I guess I just assume that songs so impactful must be sung by people who are long gone.
Right?
It's just, she's from, the 20s or something, but I'm guessing she's not that old. And yeah,
I'll tell you, if I ever got the chance to hear her, Richie, you would not see me cry so hard. Oh my God. Yeah.
Amazing. I don't know anybody that would impact me so much with. I don't know if that speaks to or against me as a musician,
it doesn't.
as a person, but
It's just,
yeah. Anyway,
I'm too much. Remember?
You're too much. Just enough. Everybody's just enough. All right. Great list, Kate Bass.
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for sharing it. And we will have both of these lists up on our pages, and you can actually check out the playlist themselves, so you can listen to it now that you've heard us blab on about it and chit chat and have too many divergences from the conversation. But
I liked them all.
Yeah, it's all good. And what a cool list. Especially, I don't know what the UFO theme is about, but I'm interested to hear why. To figure out why you're thinking of
space cadet, I guess.
Yep, that's all right. Yeah, all right. Well, that's it for this week, I think. Do we have anything else to share? Or is that, I don't know. Could talk more about everything.
All talked out, dude. What about you?
All zoomed out.
Okay, let's end with the thing just for fun. Not because we're going to share it necessarily. I'm just curious. What are your top 3 for this week? What do you want shared?
What do I want shared?
More than anything.
I think listen to that Your Flag Decal song is just a lot of fun. And I don't think we have a lot of stuff like that right now. I think we're in a very serious, heavy place right now, for a good reason. We're in a very divided place right now as a world and as a country. And to have somebody like John Prine, I think, effectively communicate a sentiment like this is it's worth a listen. And if you're annoyed by that, you have a flag decal and you don't want to hear somebody like John Prine making fun of it, then I would go to Highwaymen. I would listen to them back to back and have an A/B test between the Glenn Campbell version and the Highwaymen version of Highwayman. That's what I'd say. What about you, Kate? What are your go-tos?
Obviously, Tujum.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Up to space with the UFOs and the flying man in a saucer, or
Two Little Men in a Flying Saucer. I feel like probably a lot of people haven't heard that. So yeah, that one I would put up there.
Okay.
And then maybe Doomsday, just because that was such a cool. I just think it's so cool learning more about like what went into that and what his story is. And I know hip hop people all probably are like, yeah, Kate, duh. But I'm like, this is cool. If I don't know it, probably a lot of other people don't.
Yeah. I mean, when you first started driving, it's still cool to you, even though the rest of the world's been driving their car. And, when you're 16 and you get behind the wheel, it's exciting. It's a fun moment. And I think cherish that rather than think like, it's my first time.
Well, and I don't think the rest of the world knows the story of MF Doom. You know what I mean? Like,
probably not. And honestly, like, he wears the face cover and all of his albums are cartoons, and it's not like he's a public figure, so to speak, in the sense that, like, we look at somebody on Instagram, it's more of like if you look at the guys from Daft Punk, you wouldn't recognize them unless you said that's the Daft Punk guy.
That's funny. Yeah, you're right.
You're literally looking behind the mask in this case, and there's a lot more to see.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we should close the podcast. After we cut all of our political discussion.
Right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Entry Points Radio.
Woo!
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Entry Points Radio. You can find the full playlist and connected links for this episode in the show notes. Subscribe for behind-the-scenes, playlist archives, and more at our Substack and Patreon. Your support makes our work possible. Follow us on Instagram at Entry Points Radio. If something in the episode opened a door for you, send it to a friend. That's the whole point. We'll be back next week with more music beyond the algorithm.